Friends, we must be living right. You know how I know we're living right? A case so juicy has come along that I can barely contain myself. Okay, I am talking about the state of Wisconsin versus Zachariah Anderson. State versus Anderson. Okay, this is going to need an entire playlist of its own. They're in like day 10 or 11 of this trial, and I caught a little piece of it yesterday, but I was looking for the Ice Cream Man murder trial, and I stumbled across this case and said, good Lord, I can't believe I have not watched all 10 days. I was on the edge of my seat all day today. Let me back up and break it down for you. They refer to this as the jealous ex-boyfriend murder trial. Have you heard about this one? So Zach and Sadie were in like a 12-year-long relationship. They have 3 kids. They have one daughter who's about 14 right now. And then they have twin sons who were younger. I'm not sure how much younger they are. So they were on again, off again for years and years and years, like 10, 12 years. And finally, Sadie was like, you know what? I'm tired of your foolishness. I'm out. I'm just done. He was abusive. He was a mess. He was real cute, though. I can see why she went for him. You ever date a dude or you see somebody and you're like, oh, I could get to know that. Let me find out. And then you get close and you're like, oh, he's all kinds of crazy. That is Zach Anderson. This dude is a straight chaos muppet. Do you know about chaos muppet theory or the unified theory of muppetry? There are chaos muppets and there are order muppets. Listen, I'm a bit of a chaos muppet myself. I know you never would have guessed. You should look it up because it's a very fascinating theory. Zach, he's a chaos muppet. Now, I am not a homicidal chaos muppet like old Zach is, but he's a hardcore chaos muppet. Anyway, so Sadie finally kicked his behind to the curb, but she was being nice, right? She was having shared custody. Yes, you can see the kids sometimes, and I'll have the kids sometimes. And on the nights that he had the kids, well, she got herself a new boyfriend, Rosario Gonzalez Gutierrez Garcias, something that starts with a G. He was also very cute. So Zach, he was jealous. And so he was like, what is a jealous ex-boyfriend does? He stalks his former girlfriend. I was like, okay, Zach, that's probably like, okay, you Facebook stalk them, but you don't like stalk them. Oh no, our friend Zach, well, he's not my friend. Zach, Mr. Anderson, took his stalking to a whole new level. He got his kids in on the stalking. He gave his daughter a cell phone, used this to record your mommy. He was sneaking up to her house. In fact, one of his stalking trips, he went up at 1 o'clock in the morning to his ex-girlfriend's house and was peeking in the window, brought his 10-year-old daughter with him and was teaching her how to spy and how to take pictures and doing all this stuff. Put a cell phone in the guy's car, like a cell phone with GPS tracking so she could follow him and see wherever he went. Child, was a mess. It was a mess. Ultimately, he kills the new boyfriend. But there's no body, right? So I was like, well, how do they know he killed the new? Maybe he didn't kill the new boyfriend. Turns out when the cops went to the new boyfriend's house, it was blood everywhere. Blood dripping off the walls, blood dripping off the ceiling, blood everywhere. And old Zach was like, who, me? I don't know nothing about that. Then they go look in Zach's truck and it smells a lot like bleach and a lot of carpet is missing. Okay, Zach, this is not looking good for you, my man. Then they were able to identify the blood in his truck and match it with the missing boyfriend, the new boyfriend. And then they brought in cadaver dogs and they found a burn pile where part of a body had been burned at his house and the other part of a body had been burned at his family's tree farm. Because that is not crazy enough. Now, I was catching little little snippets of the trial today. And so the daughter, who is now 14, is on the stand testifying. Child. First of all, they don't show her face, which is good. Protect her privacy. They don't say her name. She is smart as a whip. P.S. She threw her father under the bus accidentally on numerous occasions. They asked her, like the defense attorney was like, your father doesn't have a gun. And she was like, well, I don't know if I could talk about this part. And they were like, wait, what part? She's like, well, my father does have an unregistered gun in California. Oh. Okay, she just gave up all the details. Okay, fine. But the defense attorney was like, but you've never seen it, have you? Like, it's in California. She's like, well, I don't know if I should answer this. They were like, yeah, go ahead and answer. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. Do I have to answer this question? The judge was like, yeah, you got to answer the question. And she's like, well, I was threatened with that gun, if you must know. My life was threatened. And I was like, Wait, what? Your daddy threatened your gun? What? Child, the objections and the jumping up and the who and the what. Folks lost their minds. I was like, okay. Meanwhile, while the daughter was on the stand, the father was making all kinds of hand signals to the daughter. And at one point they asked her a question. He was going pinching his lips and shaking his head no and doing all this foolishness. Well, the judge didn't see it and the lawyers didn't see it. But the people back at the prosecuting attorney's office were watching court TV and they saw him doing all these hand signals. So they sent a text message to the prosecutor who was there in the court. And the prosecutor was like, Judge, we apparently blah, blah, blah. So they had to send the jury out and roll back the footage on court TV. Then they were on court TV talking about the fact that the footage was seen on court TV. It was a mess. So the judge was like, okay, listen, don't do it again. Then about an hour later, the court reporter, the court clerk was like, Judge, he's doing it again. He's making hand motions and doing all this stuff, signaling to his daughter. And so they had a mini hearing inside the trial about that. And they were like, okay, because the judge didn't see it, he can't rule on it. We just have to wait and see on that. Meanwhile, that court clerk had to be replaced with a new court clerk. I was like, what the heck else is going to happen in this trial? And then I was watching the playback of the opening statements because I was like, let me see where this started. Why did they get into a fight? The attorneys got into a fight during opening statements so bad that the state requested a mistrial. Child, this case is off the rails. So far off the rails, it's off the rails. It's over the river. It's through the woods. This trial is insane. And I've only watched one day of it. I'm going to have to rewind and watch from the beginning and report back. I don't know where I'm going to find this footage. I've been reading case files. If I had more money, I would just get LexisNexis and download it all and read everything. Meanwhile, I'm just going to be stuck researching YouTube, which I'm happy to do. Oh, and the sign language. Apparently, when the teenage girl was on the stand, her mother was like getting upset because her daughter was upset. And she was like twitching and nodding her head, wink 'em, blink 'em and nod and all of that. You know how people do. And then so the defense was like, she's doing sign language to her daughter. So then they had to send the jury out and interview the mother and ask her, do you know sign language? Does your daughter know sign language? Does anybody were you doing sign language? Child, this case is ridiculous. And much like the Murdaugh case, apparently it was supposed to take 2 weeks and they're already into the third week and the state has not even rested yet. This is going to be a long one. And you know who the judge is? Remember that wacky judge from the Kyle Rittenhouse case? I didn't follow the Kyle Rittenhouse case, but I would see little snippets of the judge. The judge just seemed like old and a little bit crazy. It's that judge. He's back. He's funny, if odd, and possibly hard of hearing. There's a lot going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin today, and I am here for all of it. So let me know if you are following State of Wisconsin versus Zachariah Anderson, because it's a new level of nuts, and I will be reporting back more on it later. I'll see you then. Bye.